All right, we are back, everybody. Welcome back to Zachary Reality. We are here with former cast member of the first season of The Trust, Lindsey Anderson. Lindsey, how are you doing today?
Zachary, I'm doing really fantastic today. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day. What is there to complain about, really?
Well, that ends. The show just ended, so I'm sure you feel a little bit relieved, maybe, that you don't have to keep it a
Yeah,
secret.
now I know what's out there, and now we get to go and promote it. So yeah, I'm
Mhm.
happy with it. I'm happy.
Good, good. I really love the show. I'm super into competition shows, strategy shows. I watch Survivor. I'm watching Traders right now. So this kind of stumbled upon my lap, and I was like, it took me a minute to get into it, but then once I was hooked, I was like, this shit is good.
Yeah, like you. I mean, I'm a huge big. Do you watch Big Brother? I'm a huge Big
Hmm.
Brother fan. I've watched it for the last 20 years with my husband. So, like being on the opportunity to be on the other side of the camera was really mind blowing. Like it was so cool for me because I also really love competition reality shows, all the ones you mentioned.
Yeah. So then how did you end up getting on this one? Like, did you apply for the other ones and this one was just fell into your place?
Yeah, so funnily enough, I actually never applied. A scout actually reached out to me about 4 years ago because I'm an online business owner. I help people scale their online businesses, and he reached out, liked my content, and I got pretty far in those interviews, but I'm pretty sure that was canceled due to the pandemic. And so
Mm.
I rolled into my office in February of 23, and there was an email that said, "I have a perfect show for you. Do you have a passport? Can you leave right now? We're going now, now, now." And I was like, I'd already done all the thinking 4 years before, so I was like, "Yeah, let's do this."
Oh my God, that's so exciting. Do you feel like it was like more rewarding in a way that you ended up on this show that has never been a show before versus a show that you've been watching for years, like Big Brother or Survivor?
Yeah, I felt like it was a really cool opportunity because, it dealt with money and it dealt with relationships and it dealt with strategy. And these are things that I deal with in my online business. And so I was ready to go. It was a new idea. So I was super excited.
Yeah.
I was ready.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you tell us about your online business for everyone that doesn't know? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a digital marketing expert. So I help people who have a business get more sales and make more money from organic social media. And so all of
Ooh.
my strategies are like sales and marketing systems to help you actually do that. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, so then how did that help you in this game? And maybe how did it hurt you?
Yeah, so first of all, it helped me because when you're selling stuff, like when we deal with money and we deal with our own money issues, and so people can get real worked up about money, and it's something
Mhm.
that I've studied and it's something I know a lot about, and so I felt like I understood the human brain on money, and I think that really helped me because I understood that, for example, like Julie, she was about the money. That's how she grew up. This was like her
Mhm.
main thing. That's what she was always going to choose. That was something I could really see in the house guests because of what of my specialty. And then strategy. I'm a very strategic person, as you saw in the show. I went in playing hard. I played the whole time. And when you run an online business and when I help people scale their business, like it's all about strategy. You have to think ahead 4 moves. And
Mhm.
you gotta, I know I got emotional, but like you gotta think strategically and not so emotionally. And that's how you scale a business. And the same goes for the show. Now, towards the end, I definitely stopped with the strategy, let my emotions take over, and I got really involved in the show. But I think it helped me out in the first part of that for sure.
Yeah, we'll get to the meltdown because I have a couple of questions. But I was wondering, do you think that being a fan of competition shows for so many years hurt you in any way
Yes.
going into this? Yeah.
100% because
How so?
I went in basically playing Big Brother. I'd watched that for 19 years. So for example, the first day I go in and I know enough about Big Brother that the first alliance you make is typically your ride or die to the end scene. So I I was really drawn to Gasper. We both have young kids. He's a super
Mhm.
nice guy. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And we were sharing a room. So I cornered him
Mm.
on the first day and I'm like, Gasper, we need to team up. It's me and you. We're in an alliance. And he was like, lady, like, what is happening? Like, no. And so I was playing Big Brother very much. And like the first 2 days, there was a huge target on my back. I felt like everyone was going to vote me out. I really had to dial that back. So it was very dangerous what happened on those first 2 days, which is why when the women's alliance, they had decided to vote out Jewels, I was like, I have to cast an insurance vote for myself. So
Yeah.
that's votes as good as any for me.
Yeah, I mean, and you know from watching these shows that like in the beginning you just go with the majority and
Yes.
like it's so normal to be so excited, but also it's like you got to really dial it back. It's like whatever
Gotta
your
be
personality
cool.
is, just find a way to be chill. The chill people are so lucky because they're already chill, but me and you were like so excited that like we have to actually dial it back.
Yeah, yeah. You'll see me dialing it back in the house, and then finally I could be myself in the interviews. And so it was kind of like the juxtaposition on that definitely threw viewers off, no doubt. But that's why.
Yeah. And I think as time went on, everybody was able to be themselves. Maybe like maybe people put their guards down more as you got to know each other more. But
Yeah,
then it's
definitely.
also like then the competition heated up at the end. When you got into this game, like I was a little confused about the rules, just like the first episode or two. Like it was just really confusing. There's only 11 players. How did you kind of feel when they explained the rules to you and told you what you were going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I felt okay about it. It made sense to me. For me, it was never, for me, it was pretty clear. Okay.
Okay.
Like the whole way through, I was always about staying as long as possible. You saw in the interview, I was like, yeah, $250,000 divided by 11, like that's nothing I'm going to be like stabbing backs for. Like
Mhm.
that is not going to change my life. And so my decisions were always based on how long can I stay here? And so
Mhm.
Brooke mentioned all that, and then you have like all of the offerings and this and 10,000, all this. Like none of that really, I didn't really get too involved. All I knew is what do I need to do to stay another day?
Okay, because from the beginning, I was like, wait, why don't they all just vote? I thought anyone with a vote was going to go home. I didn't realize that it was a
Oh,
majority thing. So I was like, why don't five of these people just vote out five people at once and then there's no season? Like, that's why I was like, how far, like, could this show even have a lot of episodes? Because I didn't realize that like only one person could go home at a time. So
yeah.
it just took me a
Yeah, I mean,
second.
it just made for a really interesting social experiment. I actually think that, 250,000 and like divided by 11, like a smallish amount that's not going to really
Mhm.
change anyone's life made it even that much more interesting. Like, wow, you guys are fighting over like 40K. Wow,
Yeah. So you ended up leaving with nothing because you
Yes.
got eliminated. But are you still really glad at like you did the experience and like did you feel like you got a lot out of it?
Yes. I mean, I'm still trying to land this out of control plane, okay, Zachary? So ask me in a month. But as of right now, and this is just how I am with all, like, I feel the more you go through life and the more experience you get, the better you are as a person because you understand things and you can make better decisions. Your perspective is wider. And not
Mhm.
only that, but like doing something outside of your comfort zone and putting yourself out there for people to say stuff about, for me, those are my values. And so, yes, I would not change it. I would not change going on the show at all.
I love that perspective, and I actually loved what Bryce was saying about how, like, he doesn't need the money. He was wrong for being so open about it, but I felt like I really appreciated how, like, somebody actually came onto a competition show saying they're truly just here for the experience and to learn about themselves and nothing else, and I think that's honestly sometimes way more valuable than money. It's, like, the friendship you could build and, like, the experiences you can have.
I love that, Zachary. And, speaking of Bryce, that was him through and through. Yes, my dude had a crap ton of money and was born into wealth, like even to a
Mhm.
point where I don't think I've ever met somebody who is that born into wealth, but you cannot really blame him. Like you can't blame anyone else. That's how he was raised. Like he doesn't know anything else and he's just trying to be the best person he can be. So like as much as we don't want to judge anyone else, like you can't also judge him because he's a young kid. He's doing his best. He has a pure heart. Like it was
Yeah.
great.
But was it from the viewer's perspective, and honestly, it seemed like from a few of the cast members' perspective, it seemed like maybe he was bragging about
Well,
certain things. Did
but
it
I
come
think that
across
might
like
be,
that?
I mean, I'm not super ultra wealthy like that, but I mean, is that
Yeah.
part of the culture, right? Like it's okay to do stuff like that is what my understanding was. Like that's just like how he sees people in his life act. How would he know how to do any different, right? So like he was proud of that stuff, but he was probably raised to be proud of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, pending what he'll say
He
about his
shouldn't have said
edit.
Uncle Bricey, okay? That
Yeah.
was not part of what I coached him about. I did not recommend that.
Yeah. Are you allowed to say where the show was filmed?
Yes, it was filmed in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay. Have you ever been there before?
No, no. In fact, it was 1 month before that was the first time I ever left the country.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So, what did
Yeah.
you think of the country and the house?
It was really amazing. I really enjoyed the country. Like we were eating Dominican Republic food and a lot of
Mhm.
the people there, like the mic guys were from the Dominican Republic. So awesome. I mean, it was gorgeous. The house, my husband literally said, "Is the house as fancy as they make it seem on TV?" Yes, period, end of sentence.
Yeah. I loved the bridge where people would go to like reflect. I'm like, that just looks like such a gorgeous view and like such a cool spot to
So
chill
cool. And
or
then
to go for your
like
morning
seriously, we
walks.
see whales all the time, just like
Wow.
every day, all day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, it was a dream.
I love that. Getting back to the game a little bit, we saw that it really became girls versus boys for a large portion of the game. How do you think it ended up like that?
Well, because as you know, I'm a strategic player, and then the girls were voting people out, and I was so for me. Because I love reality TV, I was like, this is the women's alliance that's going to show every other women's alliance in the world that we can make it to the end. You have strong Winnie, strong Tolu, and Julie, like we're ready, strong Julie, even we're ready to take it to the end. And the boys were just kind of chilling and they were hanging out. And like that's how they wanted it to be. They wouldn't really talk game. They were talking like lifestyle and stuff
Mm,
like that. And the girls were the only ones actually talking game. And
mhm.
it was a natural separation from there.
So when did the guys decide that they needed to start talking
Well,
game?
I mean, after they got to what, the fourth voting ceremony and we're like, what? What? You guys, what? You guys are still voting people out? There is something happening here. Like, finally,
Yeah.
they realize that, hey, this pattern of us coming to the table and you guys not thinking anyone's being voted out and they are, and you guys being pissed, like, this is a pattern. They eventually caught on.
Yeah. So does that like work against the girls who maybe played too hard out of the gate? Because the guys ended up having the power the second half of the game.
I mean, they
So it's just
did.
interesting because they didn't try the first few votes. They just wanted to be loyal to the group, like you were saying, and then it all switched.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think that, oh, the guys had the better strategy. My view is not that. My view was Julie, which she got like she clouded the alliances, right? Like she's halfway with us, she's halfway with them, and we had a strong 4-woman alliance. Now Mama J was in that alliance, but like she would kind of do her own thing, so that's why I'm only classifying the 4 women in this. And so then Julie not telling Tolu and Winnie that she was willing to vote for Jake, and those two completely turning on Julie. We want her out. Like they wanted Julie out over anyone else. And it was like, she's in our alliance, guys. Come
Hmm.
on. And when they started just like attacking her, they told me that she was dead to me. Julie would tell me that they were saying that I was completely disposable to them, that like it was just going to be those two to the end. So it seemed plausible to me that I had to jump ship. The women's alliance was over and burning and a mess. And like I had to go over to the guys' alliance and they were ready to play at that point. So it worked
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, when was the moment that you flipped alliances? Because it did feel like the girls were really led by Tolu and Winnie. And, you know,
Yes.
they were kind of stubborn in some of their decisions.
Yeah, they were, and I was fine. Like, with the women's alliance, so those 3, Winnie, Tolu, and Julie, they shared a room. They were
Hmm.
similar in age. They had a lot in common. You know, I'm 43. I got 3 kids, and I wasn't sharing a room with them. So that alliance was definitely Tolu and Winnie at the top, A tier. Then Julie was B tier. I was definitely C tier on that. And to answer your question, when did things change? It was when I
Hmm.
made one of the biggest mistakes I made in the game, which was blowing out Winnie's candle. So
Yeah.
when I blew out Winnie's candle, I wasn't thinking strategically. My mode in the game was lying as least amount as possible, because the more lies, I couldn't keep track. And so like they asked who told the more lies at that point, and she'd already had 2 of her flames blown out. I was like, what's one more? Like we all know kind of Winnie's not being on the up and
Well,
up here.
and you guys were blindfolded, so I didn't think that she would have ever figured that out.
Yeah, I should have. I wish, like in hindsight, like I could have blown out Gaspers or Jake and like pulled him in and be like, hey, it's cool. Even Julie didn't care anyone blew her candles out, but like to blow a Winnie or a Tolu, they obviously would not appreciate an action like that. And I didn't
Yeah.
really take into account whose candle I was blowing out.
So do you think that they ruined your game because they came for you so hard? Is that what put doubt in the guys'
Well,
heads?
this is so the guys back to the
Yeah.
also, and again, I liked everybody on the cast, but the
Yeah.
pattern was with the guys, and I would say this in diary all the time, is whichever woman talked to these gentlemen last is who they will believe. And so there was even a moment that wasn't on there where Tolu were upstairs and she's like, I'm going to go down. I'm going to whip up some tears for Gasper and I'm going to make him feel really bad for me. So
Mhm.
I walked down to Gasper and I'm like, look at me, dude. Tolu's coming down. She's going to fake cry. These are the words she's going to say. So you're still with me, right? Yes, yes. Tolu comes down, her charismatic ways, and then you go talk to Jake Gasper, and 2 minutes later, yeah, she's not so bad. She's not so bad. It's like she said those were fake tears, my man. Come on.
Well, also, like, they all must be watching the show back and being like, Lindsey would have made it to the final 5, and Lindsey would have split it with all of us. She wouldn't have taken that 25K. Am I correct?
No, I was pretty clear. Like, I wasn't there for the money. Like, they all had such good reasons for the money, like Brian was going to adopt a child and
Mhm.
Julie had never had money and Tolu needed it for all those reasons. Like, for me to take even anything from them was never part of my plan. No, I never would have taken any money. In fact, it
Mhm.
would have been interesting because I probably would have been like, yeah, I don't need any of the money in the trust, so I'm stepping out. Like, that's kind of what I was saying in Diary.
Yeah. I did kind of defend Tolo's decision a little bit on my TikTok because I felt like Julie already stole 15K. I don't remember how Brian got 30K. How did he get 30K?
He had an offer when they went, yeah, like he had some awesome
So,
offer. He
like,
couldn't
if
resist.
2 of them were already making more than the prize money, I don't blame Tolu for taking her last opportunity to do that because 3 of them were already getting more than what the split was, and she did need the money for her family. So, what did you think about that watching it back?
I think that was fine. Yeah, I wasn't annoyed at her or surprised or anything. Like, I felt so Tolu, I would say, won the game. Okay, this is a brand new show. We don't know the rules. Nobody knows. So the answer is who wins? Whoever makes it to the end with the most money. Congratulations, Tolu. Your strategy did that.
Well, actually, I think Brian won because he had 30K.
Oh, did
She
he
only had
make
20
the most? He made the
by
most.
5K more.
Yeah, I mean, those two, way to go. I mean, and how opposite are those guys? And they both ended up walking away with a lot of money. So
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
I think Tolu should have just been honest during her speech because she said in like the Netflix interview that she told them after the cameras were down and they were all pissed. But I think that it would have been more honorable, especially because it was already too late. Like everyone already made their decisions to share. I think she should have just said it then and there.
I would have liked to see that from her. Yeah, I really would have.
Is is there anything watching the game back, especially the parts where you were maybe eliminated or gone, that you kind of see things differently? Or do you think everything just happened the way it was supposed to?
I mean, I think that's just my natural way with life that things always happen the way they're supposed to. Now, watching back, I mean, there's a lot of mistakes. And when you look at an edit and stuff like that, so one of the things that people talk about is me asking Tolu to give the boys and I 10 minutes. And looking back on
Mhm.
that, I never will do that. I would never do that again. I did not take into account Tolu's feelings on that at all. My perspective was watching Big Brother, people do that all the time. Like, can you give us 10 minutes? Like, I did not take into account her feelings.
Mm.
And that morning, I was like actually right in the middle of like sharing with the guys like my thoughts with them. So I just kind of wanted to finish, but yeah, those you got to watch all of that.
That's like, if you're gonna tell me that I can't be in this conversation, that means you're talking about me. That's how I would feel.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're
So,
not wrong. Where I just actually really wanted to meet with my alliance.
yeah. But so then how did she I know we kinda talked about this already, but, like, what was the final straw that really convinced the guys or who voted for you? Gasper. So what do you
Gasper.
yeah, so what do you think it was that convinced him to do that, and how do you feel about it now?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, whoever the last female was that those guys talked to is who they would believe. So we
Mhm.
go out for that ceremony where we're showing our votes and we show our votes. Then I actually got pulled into an interview and those guys talked. And then I was never able to talk to anybody again till voting. So it was a timing thing on that as far
Mm.
as who got Gasper's ear last. Now you asked me how I feel about that. I mean, I lost my cool. And if that, I know Tolu and Gasper were also close. So like if that was better and if like I had calling Gasper an idiot cost me my game, then that's what happens when you lose your cool. And
Mm.
he's a great guy. Like you do what you can in the house, honestly.
Well, the one thing he said is it's better to go with the devil you know than the devil you don't. And
Yeah.
Tolu has been a game player since day one. And you were too, but you were also in his alliance. But I guess, your, you know, moment kind of just shook him up.
Yeah.
I mean, he made the wrong decision because you wouldn't have took the
I
25K.
wouldn't
He
have taken
did.
the 25.
So
I
you
wouldn't
can
have
feel
voted anyone
vindicated.
out.
You can
Yeah,
feel
and I
vindicated by
proved that.
that.
I felt like in my final speech where I'm like, "Listen, I'm not here just to take people out. I didn't vote for Simone. I didn't vote for anyone that week because I wasn't at risk." That still wasn't enough to push him over.
Wow.
That's okay. I went out like, I went out with a memorable exit, we'll
Oh, for
say.
sure. Very. Would you do a show like this again?
Can you ask me in a month? It's
Yeah.
like the internet response. I've been online for about 20 years and I've never really considered my personality quite so polarizing. So
Mhm.
I'm like working through that. It's like okay, and I get it. It's not been my experience online. I wasn't terribly prepared for that.
Yeah.
So you'll have to after I get done learning about myself and thinking about all this, then ask me.
Yeah, for sure. Always take the online with a grain of salt. I think that people, they don't really have a view of the outside world. They live in their bubbles. They just write things online. I mean, any normal person would never leave a hate message, but I think it's very normal for reviewers and other people to leave critical, like, thoughts on the gameplay. I think
Which
that's
I
kind of
appreciate.
fair.
So my
Yeah.
strategy is you guys can say about whatever you want about what I did in the house. When you start
Yeah.
attacking my family or myself,
Yeah.
then I have a
That's
problem.
on
Yeah.
them. That's on them. What were your thoughts on Julie and Jake? They kind of fell in lust maybe throughout the game. What was it like watching them? Did you think that their connection was real?
I never really knew. So like Jake and I would have like Jake I know at one point was like, "Do you think Julie really likes me? Like what do you think?" And Julie and I were pretty close and I couldn't like half the time they would tell me they were playing the other person and half the time they were saying I like the person. I think it was just a mix. I think it as with all relationships you like really like someone and then you don't and then you do. Like
Mhm.
I think that's what they were going through in the house. So I don't have any like deeper insight on the love connection there besides yeah, I feel like you guys I don't really know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to be talking to Julia in a little bit over
Please get
here.
it from her, will you?
So I'm going to find out. But we do need a showmance on every show. Like, I love a good showman.
Also true.
For
I mean,
sure.
are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah. So, who was like your favorite player to play with? Who did you get closest to?
Oh, wow. That is a really great question. I would say Brian is my favorite player. Him and I think we were close. In fact, when I saw him in LA, I think you'll find this interesting. So when I saw him in LA, because you saw that in the bathroom when Brian and I are talking, and then Jake comes in. Um, Brian, the first thing he says to me in LA is, "Lindsey, I told you if you don't vote for me, I won't vote for you. I won't vote you out. I never voted you out." So he's just a real nice guy, and I just liked hanging out with him. So I mean, and he would listen to me, like
Mhm.
he was doing his best, like he was listening to me.
If there was one winner, I feel like it should have been Brian. It was shaping up to be Brian. He had so much control in the house. He had loyal allies.
Yeah.
He wanted the money for a good reason, and like
Yes.
he seemed like he could have been the winner. How do you think this show could move forward on season 2? Do you think there could be new rule changes, new ways to make less winners or more winners? Like, what would you want to see for the future of the trust?
I think it was really well. I thought I liked the show a lot. I loved Brooke being the host and all that. So I guess if I were to say something on the finale, it would be awesome if they had to make like a harder decision. I didn't feel like a $25,000 decision was that crucial, you know?
Mhm.
And so I would love for them to be like, you could take whatever you want out of that 250. I would love to have known then what people would have done. And then also letting people know what happened before the vote. Like, you don't have to say
Mhm.
who, but like I think that would have added some real drama there.
Or if like all the players who were eliminated came back and like had a say.
Yeah. Or if they bring all the players from season 1 back, yeah, something like that.
Oh, for sure. Now, I saw that you and your whole cast just got together to play Squid Games in Los Angeles. It
Yes.
doesn't seem like there's going to be a reunion. So, what was it like coming back together with everybody? What was the dynamic like?
So for I think it was different for everyone. So for me, it was really awesome to see everybody. What a great experience it was. I hadn't talked to Winnie or Tolu because for me, they were like, you can't talk to anybody till the show airs. So that's 9 months. We had this relationship, close relationship, and then it's 9 months. So it took me a second to kind of get acclimated, but I was so happy. I talked to every single person on the cast, including Winnie, which felt good because I know her and I
Mhm.
did not end so well. And because I really like her and respect her, that felt out of all the conversations I had in LA. And she gave me some advice on social media. Like she was full of grace. And I feel really good about that.
Okay, good. I'm so glad. Is there any other last thoughts you have on the show or anything you feel like you need to clear up or just something that's on your mind?
I would say this, which is, I've talked to all the cast members about the internet and people's response, and we are just like human beings. You can totally pick on me, but let me just say this about my castmates is there it's a 3D version of who these guys are as human beings. And like they
Mhm.
are fantastic human beings, full of resiliency, admirable in so many ways. So like don't be so quick to judge. And like you don't need to be so mean. Can I
Yeah.
say that? Can I
Yeah.
end with
I love it. Before I let you go, I'm going to leave your Instagram down below so everyone can go follow you. Tell us a little bit about the content you make and a little bit about why everyone needs to follow you.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, over on TikTok, I do cover a lot of trust stuff and what's like inside the house,
Okay.
strategic. So same thing at the.lindsey.anderson. On Instagram and other content of mine is business building, how to grow an organic social media audience and actually make money online. So if you want sales and marketing and digital marketing techniques and tactics that actually work, that's why you want to follow me.
I love that. Looking for some new clients?
Yes. If you're looking for new clients, you got to follow me. Period.
Okay. Everyone, go follow Lindsey.
Go
Thank you
follow me
so
now.
much.
I got you covered. I've been doing this for 20 years.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you breaking it down. Great show, great season. So looking forward to seeing what everyone else has to say about it as well.
Great to watch, Zachary. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Of course.